G'day hikers and welcome to the 2020 Hike the Highlands Virtual Festival. My name is Tom Wilson and I'll be your host today. Today's topic is going to be on the Island Walk, a 700-kilometer walk around Prince Edward Island. And we're really fortunate today to have the coordinator of the Island Walk join us today. And his name is Bryson Guptill. And he's also a member of the Island Trails Board of Directors project. Good morning, Bryson.
How you doing, Tom? Well, as you said, Tom, we created this walk last October when we had done a lot of thinking about long distance walking in Canada as opposed to in Spain and other places where we had walked before. And we came back from a trip to Portugal saying, you know, we could create a long distance walk in Prince Edward Island that would be very much like what we've done on the Camino, and also on a long distance walk we did called the Rota Vincentina in Portugal. So we mapped out a route in August and then did some of the logistical planning in September. And then started walking in October. So this is what we are up to. We started off in Charlottetown. This is the boardwalk very close to where I live, and headed out from there onto the Confederation Trail. And for those of you who haven't done the Confederation Trail, it's a spectacular abandoned rail bed in Prince Edward Island that goes from tip to tip, but it also has a number of spurs now. And so this walk uses a lot of the Confederation Trail, but the Confederation Trail runs right up the center of the island, and you miss many of the beautiful views of the island if you don't get off the Confederation Trail. So we decided to do something that would go around the circumference of the island rather than just up the middle. And this is the route we created. So we set out from Joe Giz Park, which is in the center of Charlottetown, and headed up the rail trail, the Confederation Trail. The trail is maintained by the province of Prince Edward Island, so it's in really, really good shape. And as you can see, this section is actually lighted by the city of Charlottetown. So there's a couple of kilometers that are lit all winter long and all season. So then you turn off and start on some of the roadways. We walk along the shoulder of the road leaving Charlottetown and on to a little town called Dunedin, which is on the shore. And one of the remarkable things about this walk is that a lot of the walking is on red dirt roads that are shrouded in trees. So this was one of the roads that we walked on the first day near Argyle Shore. And as we continue along, we walk along the edge of the seashore through a number of beautiful little villages and towns. Victoria stands out. This one is just beyond Victoria, and you can see in the background, if you look closely, the Confederation Bridge. And this is the four individuals, the four of us that did the walk. Two of us doing it in a linear fashion, so we'd stop every day and stay in accommodations every night. And two of us leapfrogged their vehicles, so they had their they went back home many nights, and then other nights they stayed at cottages along the way. We continued to head up the western side of the island. We were doing it in October, so the potato harvest was underway, and we chugged along the edge of the roads. This is a potato harvester going by on the right-hand side. And eventually made our way up to the northwestern tip of PEI to North Cape. And this is the windmill site that's up there. And worked our way back down the island on the other side, the eastern side, back down through Summerside, and you can see the Confederation Trail goes right by these dwellings in Summerside. And then further east along the province, again back on the rail trail as we headed towards to Elmira, which is the end of the rail trail. And you can see the leaves had turned at this point, so it was a beautiful walk in this area. We did the around the tip on the eastern end of the island and back along the beaches. This beach is a pretty famous one, Basin Head it's called. And in the summer, you'll see a lot of kids jumping off this bridge. Some of our walking was along the edge of roads. This is one of our lunch stops near Murray River. And some of the group of people that joined us, we had as many as 50 people joining us on daily walks. Quite an amazing adventure. And this is our final stroll into Charlottetown. And you can see we ran into a bit of nasty weather along the way as well. This is just as we cross the Stratford Bridge and head back into Charlottetown. And here we are arriving back in Charlottetown and having a little bit of a celebration as we got into town. There was an exceptional amount of interest in this walk when we were doing it. The local TV station sent out a film crew on 2 or 3 occasions. We also had a number of interviews on the radio. And so by the time we got back to town, there was a great deal of interest from local media. The Charlottetown Guardian had us on the front page the next day. And we got a lot of publicity for the walk and a lot of interest in general for walking on the island. And since then, we've continued to stay busy with this island walk. In spite of the pandemic, it's actually given us a bit of time to get our thoughts together and think what needs to come next. We created a logo for the island walk and a lot of the artistic work that goes behind that, a common look and feel for the island walk. And we've also done quite a bit of work on developing a very beautiful website that answers a lot of people's questions about the walk. And this is what the address looks like. We've also, I've written a book about the Island Walk, a guidebook, and that guidebook is also available. We've just finished the 4th printing, so we've gone through 400 copies of the book since December. This is what the website looks like, and lots of photos of places on the island you'll see as you do the walk. And we're working on a signage plan. This is what the signs will look like. Very simple, but very effective. It'll indicate the days of the journey. The journey took us 700 kilometers, took us 32 days. So we've divided the walk up into daily segments. And this is what our current signage looks like for the Confederation Trail along the highway. And by 2021, we're expecting that the island will be open again for visitors, not just the Atlantic bubble, but other provinces as well. And we hope to be ready for walkers at that point. So that's what the presentation looks like. The other thing I wanted to walk you through, Tom, was just a few slides from our website to give you an idea of what's available on the website. This is the expression that we're using is come back different. And certainly after you've done a walk like this, you will come back different. 32 sections to correspond with the 32 days, 700 kilometers, and one journey, as they say. And then to give you an idea what's available in terms of the map. The map should be coming up here. There we go. So this is our map that's available, and it's a very detailed map. You can drill in and get a lot more detail. So in addition to the signage that will show all the turns, you'll also be able to drill in and find a remarkable amount of detail. Every building, if you go in far enough, is shown on the map. And the other thing that's important is some of the details also provide where you can stay in terms of accommodation is also listed on this map. We've got complete listing of all of our different partners, but if you drill in here, you will see partners where you can stay along the way, and whether or not they provide meals or whether they provide transportation. And in this case, there's a lot of, sometimes you finish up in a location that isn't close to where you might want to stay for the night. And in that case, we'll provide transportation. So that's essentially how the map works. And then going back out again, you'll see some of the stunning photography that's in this on this website. These are the various sections that we're going into here that will describe every one of the daily walks. So there's a description of the walk and what you'll see along the way, what are some of the interesting sights, and also points of interest here. So there's a lot of good information on the website, and for people that are interested in doing the walk, I'd suggest you you go in and have a look at this this website, because there's been a lot of work that went into it. In addition, if people don't want to do the whole thing, and this is important, we have itineraries. So the itineraries will show if you don't have 32 days and a budget to do the whole thing, then you can take shorter sections, and this describes what some of the alternatives are. This one is up west to describe what you'll see in the western part of the island, and you could cover this 86 kilometers in 4 to 7 days. So that's essentially what that is showing.
Yeah, I think that's a really great idea, because not everybody can take a full month off.
Exactly.
And this really gives you some alternatives to look at.
Precisely.
Now, is your website mobile friendly? Like, could you see it on a phone, on a smartphone?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yes, you can see it on a phone. And not only can you see it on a phone, but on that map, there's a GPS button. So you can press the GPS button and it'll tell you exactly where you are on the route. Okay. So that makes it very helpful for navigating if you get yourself a little lost.
Yep.
So that's the presentation in essence. That that pretty well covers what we were trying to explain to people today.
Okay, I got a few questions.
Sure.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for your presentation, and I agree that you have a great website and a great logo, and I think that's going to be important to help people plan for the trip. Um, how close are you in terms of signage, finishing the signage up? Because as you know, when you do the Camino de Santiago, when you're doing 700 kilometers, you really want to know if you got good signage, and nobody really wants to get lost, because when you're doing 20 some kilometers a day, you'd say, oh, I don't want to get lost and do another 5 miles or whatever.
Yeah,
So how
absolutely.
close are you in the signage?
Well, if you'd asked me that question a month ago, I would say not very close. um, and the problem we had is that it was difficult to explain to people in government, especially PEI has very strict signage laws, and difficult to explain to people how important signage is for people who are walking. Just as you said, Tom, and you said it, I think maybe better than we have. If you're walking, you don't want to walk a lot of extra distance.
That's right.
And so you really don't want to make a mistake and then discover you have to backtrack. So we had quite a bit of difficulty explaining to the signage police how important signage is. But we've had a breakthrough with them finally, and we've agreed on a signage strategy now that we'll have our little signs that you saw in the presentation posted at the bottom of some of the other coastal walking routes or coastal driving routes that the province already has signed. So our signs will go just below those signs, and they'll go every time there's a turn off the main route, you'll have an arrow indicating where the island walk goes. So I'm quite comfortable now that we've reached a plan. And the second question is how do we get the signs funded? And fortunately, the stars have kind of lined up for us. We've had a lot of collaboration from tourism. In a sense, the pandemic has helped us because the tourism numbers have been way down this year. So the province is looking for a way to promote the island, and this island walk is considered to be a real new tourism opportunity.
Right.
So I'm expecting we'll have the signage plan completed this fall, and hopefully even the signs posted before the spring next year.
Oh, that's good. I can tell you a little story. I was hiking the Isle of Anglesey coastal walk in northern Wales, and I was with this company. I think it's called Anglesey Walks. And anyway, he gives me every day about 12 pages of notes. And he looks at me and he says, oh, you walk with 2 poles. Most of the UK walkers only walk with 1 pole so they can look at their information. And I said, yeah, you got a problem. I said, we got a problem, because when I look at the information, it's that morning or the evening before, and then I put it in the back of my day pack. So that's why I always say it's important to have good signage, because you want to spend time taking photos or whatever, and you don't want to be looking at notes all the time.
Right.
So it was the second day, and there was a little detour because of high tides. So I had to go around a certain section, end up getting a little lost. And then I went on the road for a little while to get back to where I should have been. And I ended up walking probably 20 some miles that day.
Whoa.
And I got in at 6:30 and I had left probably 10 to 9 in the morning. So I was really tired. So you don't want to get lost, because that's a long day walking 20 miles.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So, but that, I think you're doing everything right. Your website is really good. I like the photos. I like the itineraries. I like your logo looks excellent. And so I'm sure the signage will work out well for you. I'm I had in my mind that I wanted to do it in 2021. I just have to
Right,
figure out how can I do this? How many days am I allowed to be away?
right,
I got to work
right,
that out with the boss.
right.
But I think it's, I've done long distance walks for a long time, and I, I think this is going to be a really good walk for people to enjoy. And PEI has really friendly people, and they're very welcoming. And I think your concept will really help tourism and bring in new people and people that will enjoy the island. So I wish you all the luck on that.
Thanks so much. I'm excited that even in this time of COVID, we have people out walking. There's 10 people out walking it right now. They're all islanders, but some of them are experienced walkers, and there's quite a range in ages as well. So we have quite a few fairly young people who are doing it. And there's one chap right now who's posting his progress on our Facebook group, the Facebook for the group for the Island Walk. And if you've watched him or not, but he's a fairly inexperienced walker, but he's young and full of energy. And he's camping along the way, which is not something that is officially condoned.
Yep.
But he didn't want to bother with following a map initially. So on the second day, he got very lost and walked a lot of extra kilometers. So he's back on track now. He's using my guidebook, which does mark where the turns are. And of course, it also, he has the map if he wants to look at it. But he's now following the map a little bit more closely because a couple of the nice dirt roads that are on the first or on the second day, he missed a couple of them and then ended up walking on the main highway. And he tried to cut cross country on an ATV trail. His description of his deviations was quite amusing.
Yeah, another one that I really enjoyed was the Pembroke Coastal Trail. I did that when I turned 60. I did, I think it was 186 miles over 14 days. And if you train a lot and you get to understand how to do a long distance hike, I think the distance you're looking at is pretty manageable, especially 20 kilometers a day. Now, if it was really hilly and stuff, that might be a little different. But I think that knowing the Prince Edward Island and the terrain, and I cycled the Confederation Trail, so I know pretty well the elevation. So I think it's going to be a good trail for people to enjoy. My biggest thing when I did the Confederation Trail was my nephew had to be back in 4 days. So we didn't have a lot of time to go in and get to know the communities and see what's in each area. So if there's any recommendation that I would tell people is make sure you take time and go into the communities and enjoy some of the attractions and great food places and get to know some of the locals.
Yeah, that's a good point. And there's some people who are helping us with this who are very experienced guides and understand a little bit about what people really want to see. Yep. So I think it's important to stop and smell the roses and not make it just a grueling walk. The scenery is spectacular on the island, and there are opportunities to have great meals along the way and really enjoy some social aspects as well. Fortunately, the people that are walking here right now are really enjoying that because there aren't that many people here, and these folks are not seasoned walkers, so they're strolling more than they're walking, and they're having quite a ball at doing it. So we've got 4 beach walks as part of this trail that are really spectacular, and one of them in particular up towards East Point. There's very, very few people who are on that north side beach. and we'd show you how to get on the beach and how to walk up to East Point. So that's it's a beautiful walk, and we've done it a couple times this summer just to try it out and enjoy it ourselves again.
Okay. Well, hopefully I get my fingers crossed that I can negotiate for next year and manage to get at least a couple of weeks or more. I might have to do 2 weeks in June and 2 weeks in the fall, which is probably a good idea because you get to see when the leaves turn and get to enjoy that season as well. So on behalf of the Hike the Highlands Festival Society, I'd like to thank you, Bryson, and for your excellent presentation today and helping people learn more and experience the Island Trail, the Island Walk, sorry. And we wish you all the luck. And if we can help you out anytime, you know my address, and you can we'll chat more on this. But looking forward to next year and hopefully enjoying the walk. So thanks again.
Thanks, Tom. Good to talk to you.
Okay, bye now.